he had this very just like coolness to him.
Yes.
He was even, it was just a little like he would like purse his lips a little too and be like,
He's the type of guy that will give you attitude and like it kind of annoys you, but like at the same time you find it attractive. You're like, am I attracted to this guy making fun of me?
hello everybody, welcome to Nerdy and Nice. This is the 30th episode of this esteemed pop culture podcast.
That's wild. 30 episodes?
30. We did it.
Look at us. Who would have thought?
Not me.
Not me.
But, Lacey, before we get into anything, first of all, how you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Still a little sick. Well, getting to the end of it here. It's been quite an adventure for the past 2 weeks, but I find that both recording days that I've been a little under the weather, I end up feeling much better by the end of it because we have fun talking about this stuff.
We do.
Mm-hmm.
Are we doing the Hallmark game today?
I don't think so. I didn't have a chance to watch anything lately because we've been very much in Skeleton Crew mode.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna be honest, like I just gotta pick and choose what I'm watching, and I chose to watch Skeleton Crew, so
all right,
I'll have to catch up on those. I do have on my list too the Netflix ones, the Lindsay Lohan one, Hot Frosty, and a couple other ones, the Gentleman, Merry Gentleman, or something like that. I will be watching those, I think, before the next Nerdy and Nice, so we could talk about those.
Well, this isn't one of our show stories in the show notes, but I did take a peek at what you're watching, and I noticed, I'm not going to say what it is, but it made me think of Jim Carrey, and he's saying he's down to do some more of his sequels. He wants to do maybe The Mask. He wants to do another Grinch. So
he said if there was no makeup, he would do it if it was CG or motion capture and not makeup. I think, what was it, like 9 to 13 hours he sat in the chair to do the makeup, and he said he couldn't breathe.
Yeah,
it was like a whole thing.
The contact lenses and all that, they don't need any of that stuff anymore.
He said it was miserable and he would never do that again.
But I've seen Dumb and Dumber 2, and that makes me a lot less interested in him doing sequels to older movies. But anyway.
Yeah.
Lacey, movies that are coming out this year have varying levels of hype to them. Now, Fandango did their top 10 most anticipated movies of 2025, where they allow official users, movie ticket buyers, to rank, what they're most excited about. Have you seen the list? Did you look?
I did, and I'm actually very surprised by the rankings here. Are you going to go through each one?
Yeah, let's go through it real quick here.
Okay. So, I'm surprised as in I can't believe what's at the top and what's at the bottom. I think it should be kind of flipped, but
so we're going to go Letterman style. We'll go 10 to 1. So, according to Fandango, the 10th most anticipated movie of 2025 is 28 Years Later, long-awaited sequel to the 28 Days Later franchise. Not sure if Cillian Murphy's in it. Number 9 should be way higher, is James Gunn's Superman. But still a good sign. Number 8, The Accountant 2. I did enjoy the first one, so I expect that to be pretty good. Ben Affleck usually makes some pretty good career choices these days. Reindeer Games is now decades long ago. Wicked Part 2, of course, no surprise. Number 7. Surprised that's not a little higher, actually.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Avatar at 6. That could be not on this list, and it's going to make $10 billion anyway.
Yeah, pretty much.
People just want to go see the 3D, whatever.
Pretty much, yeah.
Number 5, Fantastic Four. Pedro Pascal. Number 4, the John Wick spinoff, Ballerina, with what's her name?
Oh, Anna de Armas.
Yeah. Yep. Number 3, Jurassic World Rebirth. Ugh. Not interested. Those movies make money no matter what, too. And then Mission Impossible 2 and Captain America Brave New World at number 1. Harrison Ford is back at number 1.
I think that this is not true.
You think this is politicked by studios?
I 100% think that this is fake. There is no way the number one most anticipated movie is Captain America Brave New World. There's no way. No one cares about that movie over Fantastic Four. I'm calling shenanigans. No one gives an F about Jurassic World Rebirth. You're going to put both of those things over Wicked Part 2, which is literally the biggest movie this year, and Superman.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm calling shenanigans on this list, and I don't even know how The Accountant 2 is on here.
Yeah, I think what should be most concerning is every single one of these most anticipated movies are sequels or franchise.
There's no way the number one movie that everybody wants to see is Captain America Brave New World. Disney paid some money for it to be number one, or got a sponsorship, or pulled some strings. There is no way. People have been mocking this movie. The interest of the movie, no one cares.
I mean, I've been, but people, those movies still make money as bad as they are. But yeah, you might be onto something. I didn't realize you were that much of a conspiracy nut, though.
It's not a conspiracy theory. I just know that money talks. And these types of things, whether it's Fandango, Rotten Tomato, NPR, whatever, there are people behind the scenes that are like, hey, if we give you a sponsorship, can we get up top? Hey, if we pay for ad space, can we... Like, I wouldn't be surprised if these slots are ad space. If they're like, hey, do you want to be on our most anticipated movies of 2025? Give us 10 grand.
Well, Fandango claiming it's users voting, but
as someone that works in social media, most of the contests and or stuff or rankings or whatever are tweaked. They're never 100% honest.
All right. They claim they polled over 9,000 ticket buyers.
Which ones? Disney's executives? Like,
I don't know.
No way. No way.
All right. Maybe Tommy Fandango just, around the holidays, Thanksgiving, he just polled the family members and he put together the list.
If this said that, like, Wicked was in the top 5, Superman's in the top 5, Fantastic Four's in the top 5, I'd be like, okay, that makes sense. And then maybe there's a weird one here or there. Mission Impossible, I could see that. There's no way Captain America Brave New World with Harrison Ford as a CG Red Hulk is number 1.
All right. Well.
And I'm going by the way, the press response to that movie and how it's been shown at D23 or San Diego Comic-Con or anything. No one cared.
All right. We will see. Maybe you're onto something. But
I am. I know I am.
Why don't we get into some news? What's happening?
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Enough, I get the point.
So things are starting to slow down a little bit, I think, towards the end of the year here when it comes to news. We're getting into the holidays. It is the holiday season now, but getting closer to Christmas and New Year's. And as everybody knows here in America, things tend to shut down after Thanksgiving. People get into the holiday spirit and push things off to 2025. However, we are seeing some production updates coming into the end of the year, as well as some response to some box office news. So kicking it off, we were just talking about sequels. Can't get enough of them, apparently. Robert De Niro, Ben Stiller, Terry Polo, and Blythe Danner are in early talks. Early is in this phrase. To star in a new Meet the Parents film, because we don't have enough of those. Would this be the 4th one? Because there's Meet the Parents, Meet the Parents 2,
Meet the Fockers.
Meet the Fockers. Then it's like the baby one, right?
Little Fockers.
Yeah, so this is the 4th one.
Old Fockers.
Are you a fan of these films, John? I saw the first one and it was like, yeah, it's fine. But I'm not a fan.
I love the first one. I don't like the sequels. I think the first one became such a hit that they forced sequels. I thought it was a perfect. I still think it's a really, really good comedy. The first Meet the Parents. I think it holds up really well. So I don't know. I think what's also funny is that Ben Stiller is now the age Robert De Niro was when they made Meet the Parents. So that's interesting because De Niro's 81 now. He's going to be 82 next year.
Didn't he just have a kid?
Oh, yeah. Those guys keep having kids.
Oh,
or no,
gosh.
was it him?
Al Pacino definitely did.
I think they both did.
But I think De Niro did too, because I remember, I think Jennifer Lawrence or someone sent him a baby gift or something like that.
A little bit.
So weird. I'm sorry. That's weird. A little old for that.
Impression?
No, I'm having a baby.
You talking to me?
Okay, get it. Moving on.
Yeah, I'm not interested in this. I don't think they should make it. I don't think De Niro has the chops anymore at 82. I just think, and it's been too long. Like I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think they should do it. It made me like happy to think about, but then I just wanted to go back and watch the first one, and I still think the other two are pretty dreadful. So I think this is a mistake. I don't think it'll do well, and that's it.
Okay, well, speaking of mistakes, not to move on from that, I mean, I already said I don't like those movies, so I just think that in the bigger scheme of Hollywood redoing everything and doing reboots and sequels and sequels and sequels, maybe we should reevaluate which ones are worth more movies. But speaking of rethinking, there was a box office bomb recently, and that is the Y2K film it's a comedy film. We talked about it a couple weeks ago with the trailer. It's A24's film, directed by Kyle Mooney and starring Rachel Zegler, John's favorite actress of the time. The movie bombed. So there's not much more to say about that. The film made $2.1 million during its opening weekend, and it was made for 15 mil. So it's not exactly pacing well. Which the Hunger Game movie Rachel also was in did okay. I don't think it made huge profits. And then West Side Story, which was kind of her big break with Spielberg, which people always say should have done better, it did not. It also bombed. So it brings to question what we discussed recently with that Snow White trailer, which I believe was last week. Should Disney start worrying about Snow White? And is Rachel Zegler seemingly cursed? John?
I don't think Rachel Zegler is a big draw. And the question is, with those Disney live action movies, that ink probably hit paper a very long time ago. And I think she still had this sort of up and come. They may even ink the deal when she was making West Side Story, for all we know. So, yeah, just facts alone, she is not a box office draw by any stretch of the imagination. Now they're going to put her in as the lead in an upcoming Snow White movie. I think this movie's in trouble. I don't know that there's even a giant audience for Snow White. We talked about it recently on the podcast. I was at Disney recently. I don't remember seeing the character Snow White. I don't remember seeing any attractions about Snow White.
Mine Train.
But that's the Seven Dwarfs. She's not even a part of it.
She's at the end.
I guess, but it's called the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. And
Sure.
I bet it was my son's favorite ride at Disney. And if I said, do you know who Snow White is? He'd probably say, no, I have no idea. So
yeah, I mean, it's like basically the little kid coaster.
Yeah. That and Slinky Dog, which is a little bit higher tier, but still a roller coaster nonetheless. But yeah, I think Disney does need to start worrying about Snow White. I think maybe they reached a point of no return. There's been constant talk about them redoing the dwarves and how they look with the CG. We all know about the quotes. We all know about how Gal Gadot has just plummeted in terms of popular opinion. Everything is pointing to this not being good for Disney. So it comes out in March. It's before the big summer boom. I mean, are they just going to take a hit on this? I'm not sure what the budget is. I'm sure it's high.
Would you think that they might push it to Disney Plus?
No, only because they probably got to attempt to bank on the legacy name of Snow White, and they haven't put any of the other quote unquote live action remakes on straight to Disney Plus, have they?
Cruella.
That was straight to Disney Plus, or was that because of the pandemic?
It was during the pandemic. It went straight to Disney Plus, and then Emma Stone sued them because
that probably would have went to the theaters. Yeah,
yeah.
So I think this is trouble. I'm not a fan of Rachel Zegler at all, and I don't know if there's an audience that sees her the way they see certain actors, where I got to go see the new DiCaprio movie, or I have to go see the new Julia Roberts movie, or whoever it is. I don't think it's there. I don't think it ever has been there. And plus all the comments she's made, it's just like I wouldn't want to be on that PR team or that marketing team for this movie.
It's going to be a tough sell because we talked about this last week. I don't mean to break off from my thought there, but the thing with Rachel is there's no denying that she's talented. She's a very talented singer and actress, but I don't think the media training is there. And I don't think her time to come up has been there, and there's no time to build reputation, experience. She was just automatically put in this big movie with Steven Spielberg, and then immediately jumped to the next project, the next project, the next project. All these projects seemingly have to do with singing, which is understandable because she is a very good singer. She got famous from clips online of her singing. I understand that, but most people would not know what her name is. And the only time they do know what her name is, she's not being tied to anything positive. So that's not great.
Right.
And then, like you said, Gal Gadot is not viewed as a good person right now. So it's interesting to see where this movie is going to go and how it's going to do in the bigger scheme of live action, because they did just announce today that they're doing a Tangled live action through Disney. And it's actually set to be directed by the Greatest Showman director, Michael Gracie. And it's going to be, he's in talks to direct it. And then the film script is being done by Jennifer Caitlin Robinson, whose credits include Do Revenge from Netflix, Thor Love and Thunder, and the upcoming I Know What You Did Last Summer, which, by the way, all of those things don't speak Tangled to me. So I'm not sure what that choice is. I guess we'll have to see. I do like that the director is the guy from The Greatest Showman, because Tangled is a musical, so it makes sense. But it seems like Disney's just pushing forward with these live actions because they just think that they're easy to make money on.
And
I don't know how I feel about it.
Those quotes are going to resurface too.
With Rachel? Yeah, totally. I think not only are they going to resurface, she's going to be asked about it when she has to do the press tours.
I hope so, because how dumb do you have to be to be interviewed of an upcoming gigantic studio classic remake and start taking shots at the original version? Part of the reason people go to these live action movies is to re-experience that classic story. And if you're the lead playing Snow White and you're dunking on the original tale for some odd sense of forced, social progress or whatever, that is lunacy. And it's just, those quotes are coming back out. So I think this movie's in a whole lot of trouble. Man, I can't wait to see the train wreck, honestly. And I'm a Disney fan. I like Disney. You know that. It's just this one, I think, is a big miss.
It just seems like her likability and her, I don't know, she's just not connecting with audiences. She really isn't. I don't see people, there's no connection with an Emma Stone, a Sandra Bullock, Jennifer Lawrence, anybody. Nobody sees her acting and immediately goes, yes, I want her to be the one.
I think you nailed it too with the whole, she didn't have the public ascension. It was sort of like, here's Rachel Zegler, and you're going to love her now. And like, you pair that with her, saying things like, I should be paid for every minute and stuff. It's like, if Meryl Streep did that, people would be like, yeah, Meryl, get him. Yeah. But if someone who no one's ever heard of, like, people compare their lives sometimes to actors in their station and stuff. And it's like, if they see someone who seemingly has just leaped onto this high level status as an actor, people want to watch that person fall. That's just how society is. And seeing her sort of making these demands as such a young person, it's like anytime you see, in sports, like a rookie athlete like mouthing off or like slacking off, like they get the business by the veterans saying like, hey, what are you doing? And like, I wonder if she had a actual good actor, seasoned female actor as her counterpart instead of Gal Gadot, they would have been like, hey, come here. You got to cut that shit out because you're going to tank your career and you're going to tank this movie. But Gal Gadot's like, and I'll double down. She's not getting saved by the prince. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's an inability to read the room, honestly. And they both of them, not just Rachel, but both of them came across very like not humble, not nice.
Out of touch too, in a way.
Yeah.
Like this forced sense of, girl power. It's just.
And like you said, Snow White isn't the favorite princess. Snow White isn't something that everyone's like, yeah, Snow White. And it's been done. Like they had the Kirsten Stewart one. Yeah. And then they had another one right after that. Someone else was Snow White. There were a couple of them that came out back to back. And like, even those were like fine, but no one really cared. Like, I don't think Snow White's a story that everybody's like, yes, give me that story again.
Yeah, it's a classic, no doubt about it. But yeah, I'm sure I'm reiterating what I said last week, but I just don't know what the audience for it is beyond people who are nostalgic for the original. And she's taking shots at the original. So it's like you're deleting your demographic. But I don't know.
Well, continuing on the train of sequels, reboots, etc., we have some news about the Harry Potter series, casting rumors at least, which are heating up, with the top story being that Brett Goldstein from Ted Lasso is being eyed to play Hagrid. And I've seen many a reaction to this, both positive and negative, because it is a little weird that he would play Hagrid compared to the original. Who's the original Hagrid?
Robbie Coltrane.
Yeah, Robbie Coltrane, who, by the way, was a perfect choice for that character. So he's so good. It just feels very much like my rant about the Grinch last week, where they're taking this character that everybody loves and going, well, we can't top that, so we need to pivot. Do you agree with the pivot, John? What are your thoughts? I know you said you recently were rewatching all the Harry Potter movies. Can you see Brett taking on this role? Do you think it's a good choice?
Yeah, because I think a lot of Hagrid is the physical presentation of him. He's just so gigantic and he's covered in hair. And Brett Goldstein looks like one of those guys who like shaves in the morning and then sort of has a beard by dinner. So, and of course they're going to put, fake beards and fake hair and stuff. The only thing and his voice does not actually sound like Roy Kent. He puts on that gruff, like you've actually heard him. He has a cleaner tone, proper British sounding voice. But at the same time, I think the biggest challenge for me in watching this new Harry Potter series is going to be trying not to compare it to the movies. And that's going to be tough to do because those things are at this point just a part of our pop culture. And it's just like, it's everywhere. And when people think of Harry Potter, they think of Daniel Radcliffe's face. And I think the same goes for a lot of the characters, like Snape, Alan Rickman, like whoever has to do that, that's brutal. We talked about Mark Rylance potentially playing Dumbledore. Like, it's going to be tough. But
well, Mark Strong is the most recent Dumbledore who's up for the role, which is an interesting choice. And then they said that the actor Papa Esdu. I don't know who this is. Yeah. From I May Destroy You is up for Snape. So again, I feel like they're looking at these roles and they're going, well, we can't top, Maggie Smith. So we're going to pivot and go with Sharon Horgan, who is a completely different, younger person, different from everything. I don't know how I feel about that because, like you said, the original was so perfect. But at the same time, I do understand that you're not going to be able to top it. So you have to make it different.
Yeah, I think the two things, is this HBO doing it, right?
Yes. Yep.
So you got that going for you. HBO is the king of live action television, and they always have been. So you have that. But then you also have the fact that they're able to delve deeper into the books and tell more of the parts of the stories that you've talked about were not in the movies. So that'll draw people in who love the books. But yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to eclipse the shadow cast by the original people involved. And maybe that's why they're going with, a black person playing Snape. It's just like, let's completely change everything so that when we meet this Snape, we're meeting Snape for the first time again. It's not...
Which I would say, will they do that with Hermione? Because in the Broadway play, they did do that.
Yeah, and it's like I've seen people say like, "Oh, Adam Driver's got to play Snape." I'm like, "Why?" Because he had long black hair
and a bigger nose.
Yeah, like I mean, come on. So I think they're smart in doing it this way and branching it out. But we'll see. I'm gonna check it out because and I think everyone's gonna check it out. Even people who are boycotting J.K. Rowling, like they're gonna still watch it if they have HBO.
They're gonna hate watch it. Yeah. They're gonna hate watch it.
Yeah, they're gonna watch it so they can hate on it. That's just like with Star Wars, we see that too. All these people hate Star Wars, but they keep watching it so they can keep hating on it.
Not only that, they do live streams hating on it.
Oh yeah.
They then do follow-up videos hating on it. They do reels hating on it. They tweet about how much they hate it, but they keep watching it.
Yeah, they put people who like it in their videos about their hate for it. It's wild stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I like Brett Goldstein though, so I'd be happy for him.
I do too.
But I do hope we see more Roy Kent. So I hope this doesn't conflict with that. How about that?
Yeah, I'm not caught up on Ted Lasso. I ended at season 2. I haven't caught up with season 3. I got bored. I jumped ship. I got to get back to it.
They got to bring Ted Lasso back. The world needs Ted Lasso. I know they tried to, like, Sudeikis was all set, but it's like, no, dude, you're not. We need you. Come back.
But do you need the next series we're going to talk about? So the Scrubs reboot, according to Deadline.
Of Ted Lasso.
Yes. Scrubs reboot forges ahead. Bill Lawrence is set in talks with the cast to follow up in the weeks for NBC. So Deadline reports the long-rumored Scrubs reboot is getting closer to reality. The project is now officially in development at ABC from 20th television after overcoming the main hurdle, securing the involvement of series creator and executive producer Bill Lawrence. Bill Lawrence is the guy that's doing the Steve Carell series, right? Same guy? Mm-hmm. That we've talked about a couple times about, like, Steve Carell is a professor on a college campus with his daughter there. Yeah. So yeah, he is in agreement to work with them. So now the question is, who is the cast? Who will come back? Will it be an actual reboot, or will they bring original people back? I have watched, I would say, a couple episodes of Scrubs. I'm not a big Scrubs person, but I have watched a couple and I'm like, okay, I get it. I understand why people think it's funny. Obviously, Dr. Cox is the funniest, I think, part of Scrubs. So if they're going to have someone come back, it better be him. But yeah, will you watch this? I'm going to be honest. I probably won't.
I probably will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
I really loved Scrubs, especially the first run. They tried to do a sort of season 9 spinoff and it failed.
I remember that. Yeah.
But, Bill Lawrence, obviously I talk about HBO being the king of live action TV. Bill Lawrence is one of the best TV show creators of all time. Because we've gone through the list: Spin City, Scrubs, Ted Lasso, Cougar Town. The dude makes good hits on TV. And Scrubs was really good because it was apparently more realistic than any other medical show in terms of how doctors actually are. It was funny, but it also had a lot of heart. He's good at blending that. Ted Lasso did the same exact formula. And yeah, you're going to get Zach Braff, Donald Faison, John C. McGinley has to come back as Dr. Cox in order for it to work. Neil Flynn, even, as the janitor, was great. You got to get at least most of these people back. And as long as Bill Lawrence is involved in some way, I will watch it. If he's saying he's involved, but if he is only involved the way George Lucas's name is involved with new Star Wars shows, and it's just sort of like created by Bill Lawrence or executive producer, which means...
But we do love the new Star Wars, though.
No, I do, but you can't say George Lucas is involved because his name is listed as executive producer.
Sure.
George Lucas's name was listed as executive producer for the new Indiana Jones movie. He probably had nothing to do with that movie. So
fair.
So yeah, I will check it out because I was a Scrubs fan and I'm a big fan of Bill Lawrence. Bill Lawrence, come on the pod. What do you think? It'd be nice. But yeah, I'm going to check it out.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited for you because I will not be checking it out. But interestingly enough, we have a lot to talk about, so that there's no trailers this week, guys. We're getting right into it with what we're watching.
We can never leave the house and would just probably sit around all weekend and watch TV.
Go on.
You can go first. Go ahead.
All right. Pretty simple. I've been watching nonstop coverage of the baseball offseason.
You really have. You've been tweeting nonstop about baseball.
I do that every year. With the Yankees making all these different moves now. But also I watched Skeleton Crew, of course. We're huge fans. If you like Star Wars, obviously check out the Resistance broadcast. We have Galactic Goonies going right now, live Wednesday nights. So check out that on the YouTube channel and podcast feeds. TRB, Resistance broadcast. Get on it. But then I watched Dear Santa, and Robert, who plays Neil in Skeleton Crew, plays the kid in that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where is that? What's that on?
It's around. I don't know exactly where it is, but...
What? Is it not out yet?
It's out and about. Yeah, it's out there.
I don't know what that means. What service is it on?
It's on a bunch. It's on Hulu. It's on Paramount Plus, Amazon Prime with premium subscription. So you can find it.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
This movie is terrible.
Oh, which one is that? Is that the Satan one?
Yeah.
He's the main kid in that?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't realize that. I guess we didn't realize that when we talked about the trailer weeks ago.
Did we not bring him up? We maybe didn't bring him up.
We didn't, because we didn't realize. I don't think that he is who he is.
He's great. I have no problems with him whatsoever. Jack Black is not good in this. The premise is so, like, you could tell somebody didn't put much thought into it. They're like, what if they spelled Santa wrong? And then we just make a whole movie about that.
It seemed like a really drawn out SNL skit.
Yes, that's exactly what this is.
Yeah.
You could picture it being Will Ferrell as the devil busting through the wall, that whole thing.
And Chris Kattan being like the kid.
And also, like, oh yeah, was he the kid? Oh,
no, I'm saying like Chris Kattan would play the kid, like a little kid.
Exactly. Yeah. I really soured on Jack Black a lot. Like I thought him leaving Kyle Gass like high and dry over those Trump comments or whatever. Like I'm not even being political about it. It's just like you claim to be this rock and roller, and then you just put your tail.
That's your best friend for like 30 years.
May have had issues just like bandmates do when you're together for 25 years. I understand all that.
Yeah.
But like he puts his tail between his legs, and it just made me feel like he's just way more of just another Hollywood person than this lovable Jack Black guy. So It's that plus it's still the same type of Jack Black humor, and it's like, dude, School Rock came out like 20 years ago, man.
Oh, jeez.
It's weird seeing Jack Black at like almost 60, just trying to be like that manic, crazy, hyper Jack Black.
Sounds like he's like Ryan Reynoldsing himself.
Yeah, except this movie's not making $1.5 billion.
That's fair. That's fair.
But and I'll be honest, I didn't finish the movie, so it's possible.
Oh no!
It's possible the third act is some like amazing recovery, but I couldn't finish it. I had to shut it off. It was just, I was like, why? It's like you always talk about how everyone is very careful and precious about their time after the pandemic and stuff, and it's like, I'm sitting there like, why the F am I going to watch 40 more minutes of this thing? Which is funny. Then we're going to talk about my choices after you just said that wonderful, like, deciding what's valuable to you. And then I'm going to talk about what I watched. All right. Well, I see a peek at your list. I'm very curious to how some of these came to fruition. So what do you got? So first of all, Skeleton Crew. We just talked about it on TRB last week. So definitely go check it out. Episode 3. It was amazing. I gave it a 9 out of 10. Loved it. This is the Star Wars series I've been waiting for. And if you want to hear more on it, go over there because I got things to say today. First of all, I watched The Grinch again with my daughter. Now, is it the Pharrell one or the Jim Carrey one? The Pharrell one. Oh, yeah. She loves it, so I can't. My kid did too. It blows my mind. I don't understand it. Well, the funniest thing is my husband called his dad the other day. And was like, "Hey, Dad, what's up?" My father-in-law, and he goes, "Oh, just watching The Grinch." He was watching it at his house by himself. That same one? Yeah. Benedict Cumberbatch? Yeah. Look, my daughter watched it today, and I was watching with her, and like there are moments I chuckle. Like a lot of the jokes have picked up with me, but that Pharrell, you want to know what I think? Go to last week's episode. No, we don't need to do this again. We don't need to do it. Yeah. Well, you annihilated Pharrell in that last episode. I really did. So the first 2 things I watched, I have a smart TV. Do you have a smart TV? I think so. I have a Samsung smart TV. Oh, yeah, me too. And when you turn it on, there's a channel that's like the home channel, and it's called Movie Hub. Mm-hmm. And sometimes there's random stuff on there, and you got to be quick because when you turn it on, it immediately goes to Movie Hub, and there might be murders happening, inappropriate things, so your kids are there, so you're hitting the Netflix button really quick so that you don't see what's on there. That happened to me tonight. Yes. So the other day, I turned it on, and The Proposal was just starting, and The Proposal with Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock is one of those movies I can never say no. I saw it in the movie theater. I love that movie, one of my favorites. So I sat through The Proposal again. Still good. Sandra Bullock is in her prime. Ryan Reynolds is kind of, like I said, Ryan Reynoldsing a little bit, but he toned it down for that. So I appreciate that. Like he is a little bit more charming in the romantic comedy, but Sandra Bullock is like in her prime, perfect, like tough, enemies to lovers, fake dating. She is just so good. She's so good at comedy, and I wish she did more of them. Then I also watched Die Hard. So So the funny thing is, Movie Hub was on, and Daisy was, getting ready for bed. We finished up Movie Hub. We were watching Proposal, Matt and I, and then immediately right after comes Die Hard. And so Matt and I were sitting there, and we were both like, "Okay, we'll watch Die Hard." And we just sat there. And I think this is the second time I've seen it ever. The first time I feel like was years and years ago. Matt demanded we watch it on Christmas. And this was the second time. And I feel like I really got to enjoy it this time, even though it's on Movie Hub and there were commercial breaks. I felt like I really got to there wasn't this focus on it. Because when someone's showing you a movie they really like, it feels like they're watching you watch it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Did you when someone gets up to go to the bathroom and you're like, "Do you want me to pause it?" And they're like, "No." And you're like, "Oh." That's me. I'm that person. Like, "No, go ahead. Do whatever." Oh, no, that is a heartbreaking answer. Like when they don't give a crap what is happening in that movie while they go to the bathroom. I'll get up, I'll get ice cream, I'll go get a snack, come back with some chips and hummus. I hate that. No. I didn't this time.
I sat and watched Die Hard the whole time. And like there were a couple times I asked questions. Because that's the other thing too, is I like watching a movie for like the second or third time with someone, because if you've already seen it, they're not going to get mad if you ask questions. So I was being like, typical wife material, just asking like, is this person going to do this? Why did they do that?
Really?
So,
for Die Hard?
Yeah.
Like, give me an example. Do you have any examples?
I couldn't remember certain things about the movie. What did I ask him? Oh, I asked him if the girl at the beginning, I was like, oh, is that like his wife or something? And he was just like, yes, just watch the movie.
Is that pretty obvious though?
So I don't know. It's just like stuff like that. Like the beginning where the guy brings up like taking his shoes off on the plane. Mm-hmm. And I'd say stuff like, oh, is this going to come up later? Is he going to take his shoes off? And Matt was like, yes, he takes his shoes off. So like, I don't know, that's how my brain works, is like and we talk about this on TRB sometimes, recapping TV shows and movies for Star Wars, is that moment where they're showing you something so blatantly obvious, like in the camera, or someone says something, every second in a TV or film there's a point to it. And when there isn't a point to it, it's not satisfying. So anyway, long story short, I really enjoyed it. I very much enjoyed Die Hard, which surprised me because it's not usually my thing. But I thought Bruce Willis was amazing. I thought he was very funny and very good looking. I actually found him pretty attractive in that movie.
So yeah, late 80s Bruce Willis, he had that show Moonlighting with Sybil Shepherd, and like he had this very just like coolness to him.
Yes.
He was even, it was just a little like, he would like purse his lips a little too and be like,
he's the type of guy that will give you attitude and like it kind of annoys you, but like at the same time you find it attractive. You're like, am I attracted to this guy making fun of me? And then like, you'd go to his house and his family would have like ridiculous family dinners where they're like making fun of each other, and you get to like enjoy the idea of the family. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
You don't? You've never dated someone whose family just like mocks each other? It's kind of like the family scene that they walk into.
My family.
Okay, so like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, when she goes home with him and his whole family's making, like, that's what I would picture that character. Yes.
Thing? Yeah.
Yes. I would picture his family being like that.
Yeah. So, like Bruce Willis, like I think he got by a lot on, because he doesn't have like traditional good looks. He was like balding, and
he's fit though.
Yeah, he doesn't look like Brad Pitt, but he was also like, he was fit, but he was sort of like a regular guy. That was like the draw about Die Hard, is like sort of, he doesn't look like Arnold. He's not like,
he'd also beat someone up for you. Like, he'd beat someone up, and that's kind of attractive
but his charm and his like way of speaking and stuff, I think, is what made him more attractive. And he just had that for these first few Die Hard movies. The only thing I wanted to ask you about Die Hard though was, I'm sure Matt's noticed this. Did you realize how blatantly obvious the stuntman is throughout that whole movie?
I actually didn't. I like,
wild.
I'm sure it is if I go back. I was just so in tune with like, I guess, his performance that I wasn't concerned. And plus, I feel like movies from the 80s, you kind of separate the visual effects and stuff from it, because you're like, oh, whatever. Because like with the Hans Gruber fall, which is the famous thing everybody says, like, oh my God, they dropped him on 2 instead of 3, and that's why he freaked out. When that was about to happen, Matt even goes, oh, look at that green screen work, because it looks terrible. But you forgive it because Alan Rickman is so good in that role. I love the cop. I know I should know his name, but he's from Family Matters.
Reginald VelJohnson.
I thought him and Bruce were my favorite part of the whole movie. Like, forget the wife, forget the kids, forget the stupid guy that's like the news reporter guy that's like a total scumbag. The FBI guys, like, they're idiots.
Johnson & Johnson.
Which, by the way, that guy plays a bad guy in every other movie. So when he came on with the like bad skin, I said to Matt, I was like, oh, is he a bad guy? And Matt was like, no. He just plays a bad guy in every other movie. And I was like, oh,
I mean, he's
like
douche in this movie.
He is, but he's not a bad guy. Like, he's a bad guy in other movies.
Yeah, like the teacher in Breakfast Club. He's like, this is my investigation, and he's like, not anymore. It's not. Classic like 80s.
And I laughed at like the sheriff detective guy, head detective that comes up. He's like, I'm Dennis, whatever, and they're like, yeah, you suck.
Yeah.
And when Bruce Willis's character, I forget his name.
You don't remember Bruce Willis's character's name?
John McClane.
There you go.
I'm good. I'm getting it. I'm getting the lore.
Do you remember
getting
his
the lore.
catchphrase at least?
Yippee-ki-yay.
MFR. Yeah.
Yeah. Him telling off the detective made me laugh, and just like, I just loved him and the cop. Like, I would watch a whole movie of just them, which basically was the movie, but I would watch them just chat with each other. I'd love. Are they in a movie? Are they in the next one together? Die Hard 2?
Do you want me to spoil it for you?
No, I haven't seen it. You know what's sad? I've seen the Die Hard. I don't know which one it is. The first Die Hard I ever saw was in the movie theater, and it was him trying to find his daughter.
Oh, Live Free or Die Hard with Justin Long.
That one. That's the first Die Hard I saw.
I'll say this. That's a decent movie, but they should have shot it as an R-rated movie. They made it PG, and they cut things out, and it's weird seeing John McClane.
They made that PG?
PG-13.
Oh, it's so teens could go to it.
And the yippee-ki-yay mother, like when he says F, it's when the gun goes off.
Yeah, that's lame. That's
Die
really
Hard
lame.
2, he's in it. Al Powell is in it. It is very...
Are you going to spoil it? Oh.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
He's in it just because, like, Die Hard 2 is so fascinating because they brought back a bunch of people that it made no sense for them to be in it. I'll just say that.
Interesting. Yeah. So an example of how annoying I am on my couch when watching a movie, at the end, when the guy comes up to shoot the gun, I was like, oh, the cop's going to shoot him. And then he shot him, and I was like, I knew it. And like, Matt's like, that's very obvious that was going to happen. But overall, I really, really enjoyed it. I liked looking at the 80s in general. I was like, they're really, I don't know, they were wilding out back then. No cell phones, like not really security anywhere.
They were raw
like,
dogging everything back then.
It was a different world. And that party that was like people doing cocaine, that guy sucked. Ellis, yeah. But yeah, I really liked it. I understand. I will argue now that it is a Christmas movie, 100%. If it happens on Christmas, it's a Christmas party. It's a Christmas movie. I know people are like, it's not it is. It happens on Christmas.
Bruce Willis has said it's not a Christmas movie, and he's wrong.
Well, he is wrong. But last but not least.
No, wait. One more thing about Die Hard. First of all, Ellis is hilarious.
I hate him.
I hate him too, but he's like,
hate him.
He gets his anyway. But he wound up being a director, I believe. Like he
really?
Yeah, he wound up making some movies, I think. Because I don't think he had much of an acting career. I think, you know that movie PCU, that cult comedy. He made that, and he made High School High. No. You haven't seen PCU, really?
No.
Oh, Jon Favreau. All right.
I have not.
Anyway, you can move on.
Oh, my last thing with Die Hard is with all the stunts and stuff like you were saying, the least believable one was the gun jumping to the air duct.
Wait.
Where he had the gun against, like, holding his weight, and he made the jump to the air duct. No way he would have made that. No way.
Yeah. I mean...
Dead.
He also uses a fire hose to kick through the glass window of a skyscraper. You know, there's a lot of craziness going on.
But the fire hose would have held his weight, though. I don't think he's making... Just the logistics of jumping through, like, sideways onto a no-grip wall and then magically making your way into an air duct, like, that to me was least believable.
That is a tough one. Yeah. I mean, the whole thing's claustrophobic. Like, anytime I think about him, I have some weird... I don't know if I've ever told you this. I have some weird claustrophobia thing where
Oh, really?
some of, like, if I ever have a nightmare once in a while, sometimes it's like I am stuck in a very enclosed spot.
Don't
That's
hear
why-
about that guy that was like free climbing then.
I did hear about that guy, and he like fell face first.
He didn't fall face first. He crawled his way into there
I mean,
after
that
they
guy
told him not to.
that guy deserved it. He's an idiot. I'm sorry. What's he gonna do? Come after me?
Did you ever see the drawing? The drawing's like his body's like this.
Yeah.
And he had kids and stuff. Like, what are you doing?
I know. You got to stop doing that stuff at that point. Like play a meta quest game where you're cave diving. I don't know. But what was I saying? I was saying something. I don't know.
Claustrophobic.
Yeah. And when he's in the air duct, I'm like, oh my God, I would never do that. I can never do that.
He's fit. Like, that's a skinny fit.
I think he's a little man. I think Bruce Willis is like 5'9", like he's like probably a 175, you know?
Whatever. He's attractive. He was charming in that movie. I got it. I understood.
He was
Although-
a good guy. Yeah.
He is kind of a jerk in that movie, though, where his wife has a successful career and he's like, nah, I'm staying in New York. Like, you're kind of a jerk.
Well, he had a lot of cases. He couldn't just pack up and leave, like he said. You know, he had a duty to his community.
But he didn't support her either, which he openly admits.
He saved her life, though, didn't he?
Oh, my God.
Like Roy Rogers.
Okay. And last but not least, saving the best for last, I watched the latest in the Nick Lachey, Vanessa Lachey universe on Netflix
Stop.
called The Ultimatum.
No.
It is season 3 of The Ultimatum. I watched the first 2 seasons. The second season really fell apart for me.
Oh,
Yeah, a bunch of couples left on like the first night. So the premise is, let me lay this out. The premise is you have 8 couples. One person in each couple, whether it's the guy or the girl, says, I want to get married. I'm giving you an ultimatum. We're getting married or we're breaking up. So the quote experience or quote experiment is these 2 couples go in together. They match up with someone else from one of the other couples. They do a trial marriage with that other person. So they're basically with this person like they're married for, I believe, 3 weeks. And then at the end of it, they get back with their original partner. And at the end of that, they have to either get engaged or break up.
do they bang the new people?
That's up to them. So
Are they allowed to bang? Is it like
Yeah.
sort of a...
no, it's not. There's no allowed. It's just, it's about a thing of respect versus experience versus trying new things, embracing what's different. It's really about, I guess, building chemistry. But the problem is that someone always gets hurt in the process. So season 1, you had a couple people that actually left with someone else. They said, I came into this with you. I don't like you anymore. I'm going with this person. Season 2, a bunch of people panicked the first night that they had like a mixer, and 2 people proposed to their fiance at the table when they're about to do the switch. And then one person says, I'm actually pregnant. I'm out. So 3 couples left right off the bat.
Wow.
This season, spoilers ahead, by the way, if you don't want to hear them, sign off now.
Spoiler for the ultimatum in the Nick Lachey universe.
Yes. So in this season, you had 8 new couples. And I was like, oh my God, I hope they do something different because last season was terrible. They had the couples date for a week before they got together, which I liked because they get to kind of feel it out and see who they want to match with. So then they match with their person. Day 3 of being with this person, 2 couples peace out in the middle of the night. They put up a big thing on the screen. They were like, in the secret of night, so-and-so and so-and-so met together. So 2 couples left. So you have now 2 couples that are together. Yeah. 2 couples that are together, 3 couples that are together, and then 2 people that are by themselves. So you have one.
Yeah.
So you have one guy and one girl living on their own by themselves, being single, while their significant other is living with someone else. It's wild. And I don't know why anybody would ever do this, but man, it's like a train wreck. You can't, or like a car crash. You can't look away. You're like, what are they doing? So I'm interested to see because 2 of the couples left And one of the girls from that couple, it was very random because she was getting along with this other guy really great. Like you thought they were going to end up together. And everyone was, I guess, making fun of her on social media, being like, why would you leave? What's wrong with you? And she was like, yikes, you don't even know the true story. So I cannot wait for the reunion because you know it's going to be good because something happened off camera, which has been happening a lot with these shows. But yeah.
That stuff's
that
all
is
phony baloney too, though.
Doesn't mean it's not entertaining.
No, I know.
Doesn't mean it's not entertaining.
I think it's a lot more like pro wrestling than reality, though.
I think so. I think there's some of that. Love is Blind is similar. Like I finished that up recently too. That season was meh.
It's like the Fandango anticipated movies list.
That thing is definitely fake. I'm telling you, that is fake.
Yeah, the Anthony Mackie hate is real.
I love Anthony Mackie. Do not get it wrong. But
do you work for Collider?
No, but there is no way that is number one. I'm sorry, it's not. Over Wicked Part 2? Like, please, come on.
Over Superman?
Yeah, over Superman, but I would say Wicked over that, honestly.
Yeah, well, all right, that's interesting. The Ultimatum.
It's so bad, John. It's so bad.
I'm sure our 92% male audience agrees that it's bad.
Well, I'm assuming the men listening right now can now have a fun conversation with their girlfriends or wives or sisters or mothers about the Ultimatum.
Well, guys watch that stuff too, though. I'm not saying they don't.
My favorite reactions to watch are actually dudes that watch that show.
Does Matt watch that stuff?
Yes, with me. Matt loves 90 Day Fiancé.
Intently or sort of like he's on
Intently.
his phone? Oh, wow.
He watches. And he asked, like, he got mad at me because I watched ahead 2 episodes.
So Matt, not into Star Wars, but
he's into Die Hard, Arnold Schwarzenegger, James Bond, thrillers, horror movies, and 90 Day Fiancé.
Wait, what kind of horror movies?
He has been sitting on Terrifier and Terrifier 2 forever.
He likes sick stuff, huh?
He watches like dark. He wants to watch what's that? Oh my god, I'm blanking right now.
The Human Centipede?
I think he has. I remember when that came out, that scarred me for so long. Like I didn't even watch the whole movie. I just watched scenes of it online, spoiled myself. That stuff stuck with me.
So
that was messed up. I saw the premise of the sequel where it's like 99 prisoners or something like that. It's like stupid.
The sequel makes the first one feel like a rom-com.
You watched it?
Yes, I did.
I just remember, I'm blanking on the name now. I'm having a night tonight. That guy that used to be really popular that did like recap, videos on Comedy Central. He was a comedian for a long time when I was in college, and he did a whole skit on that.
Recap videos on Comedy
And yeah, he was kind of edgy back in the day. I forget what his name was. Anyway, he did a whole skit on that and like a review of it a little bit, and he cut in scenes of Human Centipede. To explain what the movie was about. And I remember he played that first clip of the guy being like, he gives them the drinks and they're like, oh my God, what's in this? And he's like, Rohypnol, rape drug. And that like whole thing, I still say that from time to time to Matt because it was just so funny. Rohypnol. It was so stupid. But yeah, Matt really wants to see Terrifier. He's been talking about it forever and he owns it. And I'm like, just watch it.
Yeah, just watch it.
And every time I see a headline being like 75 people vomited from Terrifier 3, I'm like, are you sure you want to watch this?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely sparks that morbid curiosity. So it's probably a nice little marketing move. Horror, I think horror fans, it's like every genre of something, if it's dude heavy, there's this badge of honor. It's sort of like Jackass. Which guy can get hit in the nuts the hardest? Or like, which person can watch the goriest thing ever? And like,
yeah, I think it's also, there's, for Terrifier at least, it seems like from what I've read online about it, they got like the best of the best for special practical effects. like masks and blood and gore and goo. So you have these kind of like, it's like a masterclass in like really good special effects.
All right.
Because they do like ridiculous stuff. Although I saw the trailer for Terrifier 3, and it's a Christmas movie, by the way. And the first scene is this child coming downstairs, and I'm like, if he murders a kid, like that's a whole new level of terrifying.
I think that happens.
I know, and I can't. Sorry, that's where I draw the line.
Yeah, that's
Stupid people, sure. Kids, nope.
That's why I don't watch Human Centipede 2. All right, that's enough of
It
that.
has to do with kids?
Do you really want me to say?
No, don't say it. I'll
All right.
think about it too much. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Matt was talking about how he wanted to watch Chernobyl the other day. I was like, here I am watching The Proposal and The Grinch. And Matt's like, I want to watch Chernobyl where that guy's face gets melted off by radiation.
Yeah, that's cheery. All right. All right.
Difference in tastes,
let us
maybe?
end the show right there.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to thank everybody for listening and watching, being part of Nerdy and Nice here on a Monday or whenever you're listening or watching. We appreciate it very much. Make sure you're subscribed to the show, Nerdy and Nice Pod on social media across all platforms. That includes Blue Sky now. But yeah, subscribe, tell your friends. Also, of course, the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@TRB podcasts. We have merch, Nerdy and Nice merch. I should have said it at the top. Rookie mistake. Go to trbpodcasts.com. We have the pocket tees and a bunch more stuff coming. And of course, our TRB stuff, including the limited run of Galactic Goonies stuff, which will go through mid-January. But I think that's all the plugs for me. Johnny Hoey on Blue Sky mainly, sometimes X. I'm using X again as my place to like just really like dump about baseball. But Lacey, what about you?
People can find me on social media at Lacey Gilleran and on TikTok at It's Lacey Gilleran. Yeah, find me there talking about Star Wars and other rom-coms and fun stuff on the internet.
And when you are a dad of 2 kids, you find random pieces of Fruit Loops around your... They definitely touched my volume.
Well, that explains what happened today.
Maybe. Anyway, yeah, we do want to say a quick thank you to our top patrons over on patreon.com/TRB podcast. If you can support the show, we appreciate it. Tier start at $5 per month. The movie star generals are Carmelo, John Risi, Jetta Rosewater, Frank Grande, Nick Kratz, Chris Morales, Brian Smith, Danny, Mike Rumore, Brendan McLaughlin, Sneaky Zebra, Dave Hornack, Jolton Jedi DiMaggio, Colin Cormier, Stephen Garrow, Sachi, and Darth Snips, and the Silver Screen Spice Runners, David Probus, Neil Shah, KENDALL, GELNER, Andrew Staley, Jeremy Myers, and THEFORTWORTHIAN. Thank you all so much. We'll be back with you next week with another episode of Nerdy and Nice. And Star Wars fans, we will see you Wednesday night for Galactic Goonies on our YouTube channel and the TRB podcast feed thereafter. So that's it. Lacey, anything else?
Nope.
All right, everybody. Have a great week. Enjoy the holiday season. We hope you're safe and well. And until next time, we'll see you around, kids.